Welcome to this edition of Week in Review. Together, we're going to tell you about what happened last week and what's coming up next week and in the future, and also give you some good news about the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network. Here to do that is Daryl Mundell, just directly across from me, and in the middle, Alexandra Lopez will be giving us an update on a very groundbreaking new series from participants in the General Conference Health Department. That's the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists back east, isn't it there?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, we want to begin with the verse of the day, and Alex has that blessing for us. Alex?
All right, today's verse of the day comes from Matthew chapter 5, verse 3. And it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." That's
Wow.
today's.
What does that mean to you?
Well, to me, it means poor in spirit means people who recognize their spiritual poverty. You know, you have to remember that when Jesus is saying this, this is his first sermon after years and years of working as a carpenter. So he's really thinking, what am I going to tell these people? You know, who is his audience? And these are the first words that come out of his mouth.
Read it again.
It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven."
So we're all poor when it comes to spirituality and the knowledge of God and our relationship to each other. I mean, you know, if we're not in possession of humble character,
right.
Those are pretty rare and hard to find, because to be humble is to be absent of self. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Daryl?
Well, that's, when she first read that, I was like, wait a minute, what does that even mean? Mm-hmm. Poor in spirit, but okay, yeah, what you said makes sense. Yeah. Recognition of poverty.
Right. Because the people he was talking to in those days, they felt like, oh, we know everything, right? Mm-hmm. This is how you do everything. This is how you keep the traditions of everything. So for him to say that, he's saying that the people who actually recognize their spiritual poverty, the kingdom of heaven belongs to them.
Now we're talking about spiritual, but he doesn't say spiritual. He says spirit.
Right.
You know, that could be depression. You know, people under depression are poor in spirit. They're bereft of normal feelings.
Discouraged.
Discouraged, right? Or as we think of, a backslider might be poor in spirit. But what about the Pharisee on the corner that thinks that, he's got it all? I've captured religiosity. I've risen to these great levels. I'm so much more better than that guy over in the corner, who beats on his chest and cries out to God, rescue me, I'm a poor sinner. Yeah. I have no need for that because I know it all.
Right.
And I'm assured. Is that person poor in spirit, spiritually?
I would say no.
What did Jesus call that kind of attitude? People, white sepulchres, right? Beautiful on the outside,
white and rotten, dead on the inside.
Right. Need to be cleansed.
It was interesting though, because a Pharisee, who I assume probably did some of that, came to him one night, and in the night, so none of anybody else who recognized him would say, "Oh, Nicodemus talking with Jesus," and he felt poor in spirit. Right. On the outside, he was a whited sepulcher, but he actually did recognize the death on the inside, and recognized that he was poor in spirit.
And he actually provided the final resting place.
Yeah,
he did. That's right.
For Jesus, he was a rich man.
And very wealthy, very wealthy.
That's true.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Any funny thoughts on that?
No, what you brought up just reminded me of that story in Luke, where you have a publican and a tax collector and a Pharisee, juxtaposed next to each other. And you're seeing how they're praying. One's praying with himself, the other one is praying to God and just saying, "Be merciful to me, a sinner," recognizing that spiritual poverty. But at the end of that story, it says the one that goes justified, or the one that is justified, is the one that recognizes his spiritual poverty. So It's just a beautiful thing for God to say that those kinds of people inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Well, Alex, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Those
thank
beautiful
you.
words and beautiful thoughts, and thank you for joining in on this discussion. We'd like to hear from you. Send us an email and tell us what you think. And perhaps we'll share it with our audience all around the world. The numbers and addresses are up on the screen, so take advantage of it. We really, really love to hear from you. Well, we have just passed last weekend with a variety of thrilling events here on the campus in the city of Loma Linda, and one of those things was APC. Now, Loma Linda Broadcasting Network was featured with a booth at their convention. For more on that, Daryl has the information.
Well, that was a very interesting weekend for a lot of people. A lot of guests came by, visitors, people who are not often in Loma Linda were able to come by and talk with us, present us with their questions, meet and greet, shake hands with people they recognize from here on the TV. And it was great to meet all of you. And we appreciate your coming by and seeing us, and hope to see you again next year. Same basic time.
Part of that celebration of homecoming here on the campus was a delegation from the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, the Health Department, and they were participating in the Vegetarian Congress. That was one of those weekends that we just passed, and they were able to come and join us in the studio for that entire period of time to make some new programming. And Daryl, tell us a little bit more about it and introduce one of the hosts of those series.
Yes, actually it was a very interesting series of programs. I directed it, so I got to actually see the whole thing, listen to it, and I learned a lot. And I know you will too when you watch it on Smart Lifestyle TV starting in April. And one of the hosts of this show is sitting beside me here,
Yes.
Alexandra Lopez.
Yes. Hello.
And tell us a little bit about your take on that.
Well, I really appreciated Hot Health because there's just so much knowledge out there floating around, people trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong, what should I do about my health. But it was just amazing to be able to see people come and present their research in a personal and practical way. And I know just from being on the show, from hosting it, that I was able to learn a lot and take home a lot and actually start putting it into practice too. So I would encourage you to watch it because it's very informative and very applicable to your daily lives. Yeah.
So what was your favorite segment?
Ooh.
What was the topic? I mean, what were some of the topics you covered?
Well, it's hard to pick a favorite. I don't want to play favorites just because there's so many different types of information, but some things that stood out to me that I learned about were vitamin D, how it's an essential vitamin.
And how to get it.
And how to get it.
And how not to get it.
Yes, well, yes, this is true.
And for those who want to find out how to get it or how not to get it, I would tune in to Smart
Yes.
Lifestyle
A
TV.
lot of very interesting information there.
So let's do that. Let's give our audience a sample of exactly what happened last week here at the studios of the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network in the evenings with all these experts. Here's what you're going to see in the coming days.
Because my personal sense of wholeness is it's hard to just focus on wholeness on yourself. It's best to focus on wholeness as part of giving, as part of serving. And I think that's what brings meaning and purpose to life, which enables you then to actually achieve wholeness yourself.
Absolutely. So we have sessions about, what to eat and what to wear and what to drink, but serving others is actually part of whole person care. And so much of our mission in this community is focused around healing other people, but also becoming whole ourselves.
When you eat, your plate should look like a rainbow. A rainbow with all the various colors of fruits and vegetables, appropriately prepared, with variety. And so all of those good things, and I have to be reminded that although potatoes are a vegetable, you've got to be careful the way you prepare them. So those are things which we need to understand, which we need to teach, which we need to remind people of. And when we want people to have good heart health, to teach them the important ways of making the best choices.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about B12, but what really does it do in our bodies?
Yeah, why do we need it?
Why do we need it? Yeah, that big complicated formula. We need it to make red blood cells. So one of the early symptoms of deficiency would be anemia. But we also need it for our nerves. And we need it to make DNA. And you know, DNA is very, very important for life. We're constantly having to synthesize new DNA. So
For cell division, anything that's growing.
anything that's growing, yes.
Well, as you can see, this is a series that you do not want to miss. Check the website for the schedule and the times and dates, and share this information with someone you love and somebody that you would like to improve their health status. These are very, very valuable programs. We have a lot of valuable programs here at the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network. What are some of the others that we need to talk about today?
Well, this is a very, this is what I would consider an educational network and actually group of networks. It's not just, you know.
3 English channels, because we have more than the 3 English channels.
Yeah.
Yes, we
The
do.
3 English channel is good because we cover the spiritual aspect and also the health aspect with
Smart lifestyle.
Smart Lifestyle TV. But
The same flavor, though, education and spiritual food across our Arabic network. And by the way, these are all 24/7 networks. People can tune in anytime, day or night, and watch in their own language in these networks. We have Arabic, we have Chinese, we have Korean, we have Spanish, our Latino network. We also have a Southern Asia network, which has 10 languages on it in blocks, because there's so many languages spoken in that region of the world.
so this is really an opportunity for you to be a missionary around the world by supporting the around the world missions of the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network. This is March already. I can speak frankly. We're in the first quarter, or near the end of the first quarter of the year, and we have financial needs. So we really appreciate your support. Whatever you can give comfortably, that's what we're asking. We're not asking you to put yourself in financial hardship, but whatever you can spare, this is the time to give it, because we really appreciate and need your financial support to carry all these foreign channels, as well as the English channels, as well as the Smart Lifestyle channels.
Yeah,
I mean, we have cards and letters every day from people that benefit from this ministry, and so we thank you for your participation. I'm going to give Alex the last word. What do you think our audience needs to know about LLBN?
Well, that it's truly living up to its name, lighting lives, blessing nations, and it's really fulfilling that commission that God wants us to go, therefore, and make disciples.
Well, there you have it from the crew here at Week in Review. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Loma Linda Broadcasting Network.